All right.
Hello, this is Dominique Talkin Sports with my main man Anthony here. We're sitting here giving you our take, our views, our opinion, our thoughts on the NBA series, free agency, and what's going on around sports. So right now we're talking NBA playoffs. So Anthony, what do you expect? What's your thoughts on the Miami Heat right now? They got eliminated 4 games sweep. What is your thoughts on Miami Heat in terms of paying Jimmy Butler? Because we saw that come out, that report that the Miami Heat are interested in paying him. What's your thoughts on that?
What up, world? So my thoughts on that is that first off, Jimmy Butler is very deserving of the max, being that he's the franchise of the team. Now, they're offering him that amount of the max amount of money to extend him. Now he can take it, but the consequences to that is that'll either lead to not
Mm-hmm.
enough cap space to afford players, marquee coming free agents to take a pay cut to come play with Butler and help him, to help him win a championship. And also, well, to Damian Lillard, because it's a possibility that Lillard may leave Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that, because the Miami Heat is in the talks of
Yes.
that could be a possible organization, a team that could possibly reach out to Lillard and sign him. But we'll see what happens with that. But what's your take on that, D?
Well, Lillard's under contract, so they have to trade for him. And I think if you're Damian Lillard and you're the Portland Trailblazers, I see that Portland let go of Terry Stotts just the other day. So, they came to terms. They knew that wasn't working. They were not going to bring him back because he hasn't been as successful as the Portland Trailblazers. But let's be true.
Right,
The
right.
roster of the Portland Trailblazers has not been a really great roster. It's not a roster that screams,
No.
oh, you're going to do something. I mean, they gave up Gary Trent Jr. for a guy, Norman Powell, which is the same exact player. It's just Gary Trent Jr. has a bigger upside. So it's like, you gave him up for what? I mean, just so you didn't have to pay him. I mean, it's a small market team. They get cheap at times. Um, it's a team that has never got a great wing. They got Carmelo Anthony towards the latter years of his career,
Right,
but
right.
they have never been aggressive in building themselves, having tradable assets, and being aggressive in getting the right players to fit around a guy like Damian Lillard. Damian
Right.
Lillard is a guy that can shoot from 30 feet with
Mm,
ease, and he's hitting shots at the shot, and he's clutch time. But what piece works best around a Damian Lillard? And I think
exactly.
Damian Lillard needs a guy that's on the wing that is lethal, like a
Right.
Kawhi Leonard. Because Kawhi
Right.
Leonard showed up last night in Game
He
Six.
did. He
Put
did.
the Clippers on his back, brought them to Game 7, and the Clippers need to show up too. Because
Mm,
if Kawhi Leonard goes home, Kawhi Leonard goes somewhere else. Okay, he's
exactly.
not staying
Exactly.
in LA if he can't get out the first round of the playoffs.
Exactly.
Guys here to try to win.
Yeah.
Um, and then on the Jimmy Butler thing, I think if you're the Miami Heat, you have to have an honest conversation with Jimmy Butler and say, listen, man, you're over 30 years old. So you don't have a lot of years left. We're okay with giving you some money and paying you, but at the same time, you want to win a ring. So how do you expect for us to help you win a ring if you have the max? You may, Bam's got paid. You and Bam are blocks besides Tyler Hero. And honestly, if I'm the Miami Heat, look at Tyler Hero get me because you had a guy on the bench that she wasn't really using. So do you move Tyler Hero to acquire somebody a little better to try to get some other appetizer pieces? I mean, do you have enough tradable assets to get Damian Lillard? I don't know. I mean, Damian Lillard is going to be in a high price sweepstakes if he does and is okay with, moving out of Portland. I think a team that, if I'm Damian Lillard, I'm taking a page out of Chris Paul's book and I'm saying, listen, don't trade me to Miami. Trade me to Boston Celtics. Here's why. If you can manage to figure out a way to get to Boston, even if they have to give up the rest of the team besides Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that big three, can win a championship and put the right pieces around me. All right. You go to a franchise that knows how to win. You go to a franchise that has individuals that says, listen, we'll pay the cost. We'll do what we need to do so we can win a championship because that's what we're about. And listen, if you're Portland, a lot of teams, they always want a big overhaul. Give me a player that can kind of compare to the player that I'm giving you. No, that's not the best way to win. That's not the best way to rebuild. The best way to rebuild is to go get a bunch of guys that are starters, that are legit ball players, that other teams. Why? Because you get the first round picks from the first trade. Then you look at the guys that you got. Now all the teams are desperate because they need to fill in holes and they need to fill in the roster. Now you sit here and say, okay, give me a first round pick for that guy. Via OKC and the Boston Celtics, Danny Ainge, he was very famous at doing that. That's how you rebuild fast because you get multiple draft picks, keep yourself fresh, keep yourself under the salary cap. You know, you're able to figure out who you really want, who you want to keep, and now you're able to win. Now you're able to compete, you know, because now you have a good, legitimate roster that can do it. So what's your thoughts on Damian Lillard being traded at all, Anthony? What's your thoughts?
I think it's time to move on. But first, let's see what happens in free agency because you have marquee players like Kawhi, which is a potential player that'll be able to contribute to the team to help out Lillard chase a title, being that Kawhi Leonard's a champion. But if I was Dame Lillard, I'd reach out to the organization and let them know, hey, either get me some help or it's time to move on. Because if he continues to stay in Portland without the help, then they're gonna burn him out, man. He's gonna end up retiring in Portland without a ring.
Yes.
And without a championship, that's not the way to go. Now you can have all the money, you can have these big time max contracts, but you want a championship, which is more valuable. And Damian Lillard is a very special elite player. He need to be on a roster where he has the help, where he has players around him that'll help him, win a championship.
It's literally the teams that he could be go-to that can really say, okay, you coming to us, we got to win a championship. Is the Los Angeles Clippers, is the Boston Celtics. I guess you could think about a team like Philadelphia if they're willing to give up, which I know they would give up Tobias Harris and stuff like that, and tell Ben Simmons you're gonna move to like the 3 or the 4 or something like that.
Or the Knicks.
The Knicks. I don't know if the Knicks have another co-star that's already ready and established. I think Julius Randle is a third star. He's your third guy, and Damian Lillard could be your first or your second.
It could be your first or your second.
I think you need another one that's established that says, hey, I'm ready to go. Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if Damian Lillard joins them, you're like, that's championship. That's a championship.
I would love for that to happen. I would love for that too.
If Damian Lillard goes to Los Angeles Clippers, because I know he doesn't want to go to the Lakers, but if he goes to the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George, that's a championship. That's a championship. That means you're not coming up anything less than a championship, Yep. And I think Clippers have enough guys to do it, to make the trade worth it. And if you're Portland, don't look at the picks. Look at, okay, how many draft picks can we get out of these guys? Because there's going to be other teams that are trying to win that will trade us a first-round pick and a second-round pick for so-and-so. That's kind of how you get on the market. That's kind of how you rebuild. It's kind of what OKC has done over the last couple of years, and that's why OKC has so many picks, because they got a player and you're not willing to keep the player. You're like, hey, can I retrade this player and give him to a playoff team and they can give me a pick, So that's one of the things that, we were really looking at. But let's shift gears because since we talked a little bit about Boston, Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics,
my team, my home base. My first team, my second team is Philadelphia 76ers. My first team is the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
What does Boston do in your mind with promoting Brad Stevens to president of basketball operations and Danny Ainge is
Moving
leaving?
on. Um, you mean as in what's next for as far as a head coach?
I mean, overall, what's next overall? What's your thought process? What's your whole thought on
My whole thought on it is that, well, first off, applaud and thank Brad Stevens because he was a great coach. He got the he got the Celtics in the playoffs year after year, got him into the conference finals. So he was a great coach, and it looked like he was ready to step down and move on, being that he wasn't able, even though he got the Celtics to the playoffs, he
it?
wasn't able to get them all the way through to win a championship. So it's time to move on to other things, move on to the staff, become the next president, help seek talent within the team, help look for good draft picks, try to grab a good free agent come off season. And as far as a head coach, you have potential coaches out there, like for example, Jason Kidd, which is the assistant coach of the Lakers. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's my take on that.
So you like Jason Kidd as the head coach?
For the coach position, I could say yes, based on
Mm.
his how he was as a player, how great he was as a player. He has, to me, he has the potential. He has the potential to get the team to play, to move the ball around, share the wealth. Jason Kidd definitely has the skills to help the team win games, and also help look for talent, help look for a great point guard, just like how Kidd was when he was in the league.
Hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
to me, I think it's a two-guy race. Well, three-guy. I think these
yeah,
three guys really have to strongly consider. That's Mark Jackson. Why? Because Mark
him too.
Jackson helped build that Golden State structure. So you
He
need a
did.
guy that can help build structure,
Yeah.
continue to keep an environment, and continue to keep guys motivated, likable, coachable. Um, the other thing is the other two guys that I'm thinking about is so not Mark Jackson. The other guys that I think you have to really consider because they have ties to the Boston Celtics is Chauncey Billups. Chauncey, big
Yeah.
shot Billups.
Big shot
And
Billups.
yep, and Chauncey Big Shot Billups. And if you're not only talking about Chauncey Big Shot Billups, you also got to talk about um Sam Cassell. You know, won a championship with the Boston
That got
Celtics.
tested back in
Been
the
around.
'08.
He's
Yep.
a champion.
Yep.
He knows how to play the game. He's a point guard. You know, you're
Mm.
talking about three. You're talking about all point guards. And what that would do is that would help for the team to understand playmaking, and become a better playmaking team for each other, and try to figure out how they can get easy baskets. Because one of the things watching the Celtics play, their defense was okay. It was average, but you know they didn't get easy buckets. And in this NBA, you have to figure out ways to get easy buckets because that helps to win games. You know, getting easy buckets. I mean, you got guys that can make big shots, but you don't always want them to keep coming down and they take 25 shots and 22 out of the 25 is
Right.
tough shots. You want them to be, half of their shots to be layups and easy shots, attempts, and stuff like that. So that way they can get a feel for themselves. And even for the other guys that aren't as good offensively, they can become a little better. And I think, you look at filling the roster with getting a point guard. I think you got to go after a guy like Lonzo Ball. I think you need a real legit point guard, somebody that can come in here, help create eat buckets, play defense,
Yep.
hit three, so they're not a liability. And
Kyle Lowry.
yeah,
Kyle Lowry, who's going to be a free agent
no,
this year.
no, I don't want Kyle Lowry. No, you don't want Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
He's too
He
old.
got he got championship experience. Back.
Yeah,
Let's go back to 2019 when he put
yeah,
up
but he's
points.
too
He's one of
expensive.
the reasons why the Raptors won a championship.
Yeah, but you want someone
Kawhi
that
is the
can
main
play.
reason why, but Lowry, he showed up in the playoffs too.
I mean,
Even though he was in the
Lowry's
slump a little
legit.
bit, but
Kyle
he showed
Lowry is
up.
legit, but Kyle Lowry should be going to a team like the Lakers. A team that's trying to win that very same season. He should not go to a team that's like the Boston Celtics, where
That
our window
rebuilding.
is 3. We have a 3-year window, and that means we have 2 years to get legitimized, meaning that we have to make that stride to get better, to say, okay, we're a legit team to compete. And we need guys that can grow into that and can continue to grow. We don't need guys that are coming that are like, hey, we're trying to win right now. The only guy that you can look at that age-wise fits, you also have to fit age-wise with Jason Taylor and Jaylen Brown, because if you get a guy like Kyle Lowry, after a year or two, he retires, now you got to go get another point guard. Versus if you get a point guard that's around their age, you don't have to worry about, okay, do we got to go get another point guard? You would already have that position stability.
Gotcha. But then again, I still wouldn't mind to see Lowry sign with the Celtics. And here's why. Just think of it as LeBron when he went to the Lakers, being that he's older but still experienced. Lowry is experienced too, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're young, and Lowry, he can go in there. He can go to the organization, to the team as a big brother, take them to under his wing and show them what it takes to win, what it takes to be a champion.
But he wants the max, so
he wants the max.
I don't think the Celtics want to give.
Oh no, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Yeah,
because if anybody was to get the max for the Celtics, it'll either be Tatum or Brown, but most likely Tatum.
I mean, Tatum is under his current deal. He's gonna have some max years, but Jaylen Brown is there. These guys are under contract, so you're looking for the right fit. I mean, you're looking to get out of Kemba Walker. You don't want another small point guard. I want a point guard with size.
Well, with size.
Yeah, I think that's what we need. That's what we're missing. Like I said, we need a guy like Lonzo Ball. We need some guys that are playmakers. We didn't have enough playmaker type guys on the team. Guys that can put the ball on the floor, get to the rim. Guys that can say, okay, I'm gonna put the ball on the floor, and when I put the ball on the floor, I can create a shot for somebody else. We didn't really have a lot of that here on the Boston Celtics, so that's kind of played into what was going on.
Yeah. So that guy would be Dame. That guy would be Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard.
Damian Lillard is is a superstar. You're bringing Damian Lillard in to be a superstar, and if you bring Damian Lillard in, you need to go and build a bench like a DeLon Wright, because you need guys that can play make off the bench. You need other playmakers. You need a couple playmakers to come off the bench, and then you need some shooting. So you need some guys that can just flat out shoot the ball, that they can get on the court and they know their role. Play defense, hit a couple shots, spread the floor, do your thing, and they're not nervous. And that's something that I would do, because maybe in that Damian Lillard deal, you take on some other guys that were on that Portland team that kind of fit that mold. Maybe bring Norman Powell with maybe bring Norman Powell over, or some of the other guys. Maybe bring I would like to bring, if I was training for Damian Lillard, give me Damian Lillard, and also let me get Carmelo Anthony. Let me get another guy. Let me get another vet, because I want Tatum around guys that been in that help mentor. And then when you bring a roster like that, that's when having a guy like Mark Jackson, Chauncey Billups, and Sam Cassell, guys that know how to handle those personalities. They know how to be around superstars. Chauncey Billups is an all-star in his own right, but these guys know how to run things. They know how to get things done. They know how to get guys motivated.
Right, and also a Jason Kidd too. You bring in Jason Kidd, he'll get you a point guard. He will find you a legit point guard.
Yeah, I could understand bringing Jason Kidd at that point. Yeah.
Yep. And what the Celtics also need, because being that they struggled defensively all season, we need players with some size and players that know how to play defense.
Yes. Yeah, and
players that know how to protect the paint. Yep.
Yeah, we got a lot of holes, because I don't think Robert Williams is big enough in the NBA, and that's what makes me say I don't think he's the long-term solution. I think he's the short-term solution. I think he is your backup center, meaning he's
a role player
that's coming off the rent. Yeah, he's coming off the bench. He's giving you block shots, and then also his health hasn't been as reliable. So, and I don't think he has enough size. I think you have to look for size and strength. Size, strength, guys that, and also somebody that is not a liability that everybody's sucking into the paint offensively. You need somebody that can do what Robert Williams do, but also be a killer on offense. And that's why I said a guy like Lloyd Pierce. I did not like what he did in Atlanta. I don't think this is the right opportunity for a guy like Lloyd Pierce right now because I mean, I think he's a decent coach, but I'm looking for guys that are going to prove to be greatness. I need greatness right now. This is not the job for Lloyd Pierce. This is the job for a Chauncey Billups, a Mark Jackson, a Sam Cassell. Give me a guy that has a resume, Jason Kidd, that has a resume that says, if I give you this opportunity, I should expect certain results. With that being said, thank you for talking live, talking sports. Check in, see what topics we go over as we talk a little bit about the NBA and what's going on in playoff series, what's going on with players, what's going on with rosters, free agency. We'll take a deeper dive in this as free agency continues. But thank you for talking sports. Peace out. Anthony, any final thoughts?
Like, subscribe, comment, leave your comments down below. Keep them respectful. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Let us know if we need to elaborate more. Leave your opinions. Give us your take on the playoffs and who should go where in the free agency. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace and love, man.
Peace and love. Be safe.